We've recently been talking about handhelds that were ahead of their time but weren't successful one way or the other. The Neo Geo Pocket Color had forward-thinking ideas, but the company was in financial hell. Nokia's N-Gage combined phones with video games, but it was clunky and complex for people to get into. This one, however, was a dozy. In the late 90s, the handheld market was dominated by Nintendo's Game Boy and Game Boy Color. If you couldn't afford those, you most likely had a few of the many cheap Tiger Electronics LCD games. Many remember them for either the nostalgia or being utter crap, but in 1997, Tiger decided to step up their game and release their own cartridge-based system with a twist. It's the Gamecom. I saw recently that Hasbro, who is their parent company these days, is gonna bring back a select few of those dedicated LCD systems. My initial thought was why, but if there is a market for a re-release Mattel Electronics football, then I guess it could work too. If only this had worked, then the landscape of portable gaming could have been completely altered. Tiger's Gamecom was released in August of '97 as the first portable video gaming system with touchscreen technology. Of course, it also has 5 built-in functions, but who really cares about that when you've heard the word touchscreen? Keep in mind, this is 7 years before the original DS, so it must beg the question of why did it fail? We'll figure that out momentarily. Bonus cartridge included. Don't usually see that anymore for a debuting system. The flaps around the box show most of the same of what was on the front, except the top has a handlebar, so you could carry the system in its original box. Multi-purpose for storage and for protection on the go. The back goes into greater depth into the features and capabilities of the Gamecom, which I will highlight for you, so let's get it out and take a closer look at the handheld itself. Looks pretty simplistic on first glance, but from my experience, simplicity can be a bestseller. Over on the left, we have a rather big speaker above this peculiar D-pad that from moving kinda acts like the Neo Geo Pocket Color C-pad, minus all the clicking. Below that is the stylus to be used on the black and white display. As you saw and heard me say, the screen is black and white as opposed to color, which is probably a reason why it didn't sell well, assuming having both color and a touchscreen would have driven the price range up. A sacrifice had to be made. I had to find a stylus as the Gamecom I got didn't come with it, but now I can hear that satisfying snap when it slides right in. To the right is the essential on and off button, and the button interface itself is the most interesting. Sure, we've seen the A and B button, some may have seen a C button, but have you ever seen an actual D button? I've talked about the Genesis D-pad that had the same name, but this is an actual button with a D on it. How about that? These thin menu and sound buttons are for the main menu. The pause button, well, that should be obvious. Around the Gamecom is a mixture of the usual and unusual, like the volume knob for the speaker and the contrast knob for the screen. On the bottom is the lonesome headphone jack if you want to use that. Here's something you don't see, not 1 but 2 cartridge slots. A little odd but nonetheless a neat idea. Why not be able to have 2 games always ready to play? On top is the AC adapter jack and a COM port. What this does is connect the Gamecom to the internet. That's right, this is also the first handheld system to connect to the internet. Of course, it isn't anything special by today's standards. It's as useless as the Dreamcast with trying to browse the World Wide Web, but at least the name makes more sense when you think about it. Though it isn't pronounced as game.com, just Gamecom. The .com is to refer to the internet connectivity and the top-level domain. You just don't say the dot. Tiger's weird, let's just end with that. On the back is your basic info of copyright, patents, rights, and origin, with the adapter rating and battery. Speaking of which, the Tiger Gamecom takes 4 AA batteries and could last around several hours, give or take. We also have a backup battery door for memory and save data purposes, much like the NG PC. Both of these systems were conceived about the same time, so I wonder who was keeping notes. Funny to see a reset button. I can hazard a guess to what it does since it's right next to the battery backup. I want to comment real quick on what the games look like. This is what a sealed box copy of Sonic Jam looks like. Interesting, wouldn't you say? Now you know why you won't be seeing this game being played, so we have that out of the way. The cartridges are a little bigger in height and depth compared to a GBA cart, and the pins only fill like 3/4 of the space it occupies. But surely it must be adequate to get the job done. To put it in perspective, it did a job, but not a very good one. The games themselves are very lackluster, not really anything to get excited about. Even with the promise of titles like Duke Nukem 3D, Resident Evil 2, and Williams Arcade Classics, Tiger couldn't stop making the piss-poor quality games they were well known for. Old habits are harder to break, and a tiger can't change its stripes. The Tiger Gamecom, I will admit, sounded appealing, having these brand new capabilities of touchscreen and internet connection, but under-delivered when it came to the display and, most important of all, the games, resulting in abysmal sales and a 3-year lifespan. Even going in your pocket and making it pro didn't help much. Looking back now, it's an anomaly much like other portable systems of the late 90s to early 2000s, but it didn't leave without leaving an imprint somewhere, giving potential influence on what would become Nintendo's DS. The Big N also tried putting 2 DS card slots on the DSi, but that didn't go so well. If you so happen to find this thing out there, it'll be your call to get. On one hand, it's an uncommon handheld with plenty of firsts to its credit, and on the other hand, it's just another Tiger handheld. Though I would be amused if they brought this back. Putting color and a backlight on it these days wouldn't cost much. Maybe it would even succeed. It's the Tiger Gamecom. Clocks in gaming, phones in gaming, touchscreens in gaming, internet in gaming, we've come a long way from our roots of 2 paddles and a ball. The Pong craze was so big and out of control, people couldn't get enough, and many companies made various ways to play it, in arcades, at home, and even without a TV, per se. And on the next episode, we'll take a look at how the Marx Company made a game of tennis with their own kind of television. If you think I missed anything, please leave a comment. If you like what you see, leave a like. If you think others could get knowledge out of this, share this video. And if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. Now, if you'll excuse me, nostalgia is calling.